can you please talk to us about the issue of trans women in prisons and what the trans community is doing about that?
Yeah. So one of the major issues that's happening in the trans community is that when we are thrown in jail, because obviously everyone will eventually, within any demographic, there will be a certain population within jails. Um, there isn't consistent legislation across Australia in terms of which jails trans women should be sent to. When trans women are sent to the wrong gendered jails, when trans women are sent to men's jails, um, we face far higher rates of violence and are often put into uh, solitary confinement uh, with the justification of it's for our own safety, and that may even be true. But it's still a horrible place to be, a cruel and unusual punishment.
That's not quite right. Guards can't decide that you go into solitary confinement for your own protection. You can request to go into solitary confinement for your own protection, or just because you don't want to hang out with anyone else there. But the guards can't make that decision. Prior to these men needing to come into women's prisons, they used to go to this place called the Boneyard, which is a protectee prison. They got the name the Boneyard because, well, dogs have bones and dogs do, unless they're well trained anyway, they do tend to take food from other people. So, like police informants, uh, police, sex offenders, people that owe money for gambling, or drugs or whatever, they've got in trouble with the main stream prison system. So they go into there. And this is where trans women would go as well. They don't have to come into a women's prison, they can go into the protected area. Huh.
I do believe that using solitary confinement as a means to ensure someone's safety, it would have to violate human rights law, surely. Um, and this is commonplace within the Australian prison system. There is currently no legislation one way or the other about how the courts, about which jails trans women ought to be sent to in WA. So it's decided entirely on a case by case basis. And sometimes it goes well and sometimes it goes poorly. And it's one of the many issues that is completely off the radar of the media in terms of a trans rights issue, a trans rights debate. Like, this is trans rights. This is costing lives.